Okay, so we're going to jump right into it. First things first, the first thing I like to do is apply a moisturizer. I always moisturize my skin. I realized when I wasn't doing it, I don't know, my makeup would just look dry for some reason. It just did not. It was very flat. So I always make sure I moisturize my skin. Okay, and for primer, I like to kind of go in with a primer now. I used to go in with a very mattifying primer, but I only do those when I'm like going out for a long period of time or going out for the night. Today I'm going to be using the Milk Hydro Grip Primer, and what I like about this primer is that it does make your base very tacky, but it doesn't dry out the skin. So it's going to make your makeup long lasting, but you're not going to have dry skin. Okay, so now time to pick foundation. Now when picking your foundation, I would suggest you actually pick a foundation that matches you. That actually matches you. You don't want a foundation that's too light, because that's going to be very noticeable. People can clock you from afar with a foundation that's not matching to your neck or to your chest. If when matching a foundation, you always want to match from the side of your neck down your jawline to make sure it matches your jawline to your neck or to your chest. You don't want to match your hand, because especially your left hand, because that's your driver's hand, which tends to get a lot of sun exposure, especially if you are a professional driver. So the foundation that I'm going to be using today is the Maybelline Fit Me, and I'm going to be using the shade 355 Coconut and 356 Coconut. Now these foundations are drying, so what I like to do is get a pump, and then I like to take the Morphe spray and spray my brush. Now at this point, if you have hyperpigmentation or anything, you might want to color correct. Like if you're somebody of my skin, my deeper skin tone, you might want to get a deeper skin tone, like a orange shade, to color correct. And then you would just pretty much put the product on your face and just blend it out with your fingers. So in that way, when you apply your foundation, it's going to give you that smooth canvas, and you won't be able to see anything peeking from underneath. Now this foundation looks light when I put it on, but when it dries down, it dries to my perfect shade. That's why when you go to ever test the foundation, if you're not going to blend it all the way out to see if it's going to actually blend in, you should wait a minute to see the true color of the foundation. Okay, so now that I have my foundation on and I just popped on my brows, I have to clean them up. I like to take a damp makeup sponge and just go over my foundation. To me, it really helps to soak up, you know, whatever extra product I have, and it really helps my skin look like actual skin. Concealer, it depends on what type of look you're going for. If you're looking for your concealer to be just a tad bit lighter than your foundation, you might want to go just a shade lighter. You can go 2 shades lighter, but you don't want to go any further than that, because then it'll start looking a little bit extreme. For concealer today, I'm using the Juvia's Place in the number 12, and I used to go really crazy with concealer, but now it's going to move anyway, so there's no need to go on with a heavier amount. I didn't mean to make that line that thick, but whatever you do to one side, you do to the other side. Okay, so that's pretty much all the places that I placed the concealer. Now that's going to change based off your face shape. You have a bigger forehead, you don't have to necessarily bring attention to that area on your face with concealer, because concealer is going to brighten up that place. So if you don't want attention brought to that, then I wouldn't put concealer in there. To blend out my concealer, I like to use 2 things. I'm using the Real Techniques brush as well as a damp sponge, and then I just like to pat the product in, not necessarily dragging the product down or moving the product around. I'm just blending it into that spot. My Cupid's bow, I like to drag that product and blending takes time, so if you feel like it's taking you a long time to blend out your stuff, so these are hour-long videos cut down to 15 minutes, so it does take a long time to blend out the product, especially if you end up going in with a heavier hand. That's why it's better just less is more, and if you want to build from that, you can build from that. And then for my face shape, I like to not go any further than the edge of my brow. I'm not trying to make my face look more of a box shape. So to me, I felt like when I used to drag my powder or my concealer all the way out here, it really changed the structure of my face, and I didn't like it. I didn't like how it looked in photos. And I always like to get the inner corner because I do not like that part not having any type of foundation or concealer. And then I'm going to go over that area with a damp sponge. Okay, so now I'm going to be cream contouring. For cream contouring, I like to go in with a contour stick. I like using the one from Anastasia Beverly Hills. This contour stick is very creamy and it makes it really easy for you to blend out your contour. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the top of my ear where that dark shadow is, and I'm going to go straight down. I'm not going to drag it all the way down. Instead of giving you that rounded, sculpted, lifted look, it's going to make your face look like it's being dragged down. And that's pretty much all the product I use, because the product's going to blend out. So the more that you apply, the more you have to blend out. Okay, and to blend that product out, I'm going to be using the BH Cosmetics brush in the number 4. And basically what you want to do is when you do blend out these products, you want to make sure that you are going upward. It makes it easier for the product to blend into your foundation, as well as for it to disperse evenly. And I like to be very precise when I'm doing this, because I don't want this product to be everywhere. I only want it to be concentrated into a specific area. Okay, so not only do I place that product there, I also apply that product to my forehead and a little bit on my jawline. I don't contour my nose, but for the sake of this video, I will. I'm going to take the BH Cosmetics brush in number 10, and I'm going to take a little bit of this product, just a little bit, and I'm going to bring it down. And I like to blend that product out, bringing it inwards. Okay, so now to set everything. When setting your face, especially for a woman of color, I like to go in with a banana powder. The 2 banana powders I have here is the one by Anastasia, and my favorite banana powder, which is the one by Sacha Buttercup, and that is the one we are going to be using today. So then what I like to do is I like to go in with a damp sponge and pretty much go over the areas that have concealer. I want to make sure that that area blended out completely before I go in with powder. So now I'm going to flip the sponge over, dip into the powder, tap off the excess on my hand, and then go in. And I always go underneath my eye first, all the way, to make sure that is set. And then I start to bring it down. And we follow that step for the rest of the face. Okay, so for down the center of my nose, I'm going to take the same brush. I'm going to just take a little bit of the product and go straight down the center of my nose. I like to take my time with this because I don't want my nose to look kind of crooked. And then we're going to take the rest of the powder that's already on the back of my hand, and we're going to clean up that contour. And I feel like that's a better way to doing it than just laying on all these powders first, because once the powder is on there, it's kind of hard to just move it around. Now for bronzer, I'm going to go in with bronzer before I contour. And the bronzer I'm obsessed with is the CoverGirl Queen collection in the shade Ebony Bronze. For bronzing, what I like to do is take the Morphe, y'all like how that brush is upside down. I like to take the Morphe M527 brush. This brush really disperses color nicely, and I like to tap in the product and just always tap off the excess and go in with a light hand. And then I go in just a little bit for my jawline. Then you want to turn your brush like this and make sure you're going up and down to make sure that that's blended into your neck. And then I don't like to go heavy on the side of my nose with powder, so I'm going to take the same bronzer brush, dip a little bit in, and just lightly feather it like that on the side of my nose. Okay, so now time for baking. For baking, I like to take the same sponge and dip it in and just place that product on. I'm not so much trying to blend it in. So then I do really want to get that. Okay, now time for contour. For contouring, I like to go in with these powders. I'm only going to be using the shade Ebony today. And I like to use the Morphe. It's just another Morphe brush. To me, this is just a smaller version of this brush. They're pretty much shaped the same. They sprout up like this. So, but this brush is going to help me get focus the product in one designated area. So then I take a little bit of product, a little bit, that was a lot, dust off the excess, and then I just go in just a little bit and I just push that product up. Okay, and to clean that up, I'm going to go underneath that with some powder. And then I just let that set for like literally a minute, and then I'm going to start dusting this powder off with my Wet n Wild brush. So before we go into highlighter, what I like to do is set my face with the Morphe setting spray, and this is going to really help with melting in all the powders we just used. Okay, so for highlighter, I'm going to be using the Master Chrome from Maybelline. This is one of my favorite highlighters. It's so affordable. And to make sure you didn't go too crazy with the highlighter, I like to go over my highlighter with a damp sponge or spray my face. Okay, so to me the skin looks very glowing, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, this is how I highlight and I contour. So I'm gonna finish the rest of my face off camera and I'll be right back. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the look. I'll see you guys soon with another video, and don't forget to subscribe and click that post notification bell. Bye.